Welcome to the Still a Man platform, where real conversations leads to real growth. Every Monday, step into Man in the Mirror, a platform where people come to share their journey, their past, their present, and the future. Real stories, real reflections, and real transformation. On Tuesdays, tap into the heart of the conversation with Still a Man podcast, honest talk, raw truth, and the kind of realness most people are afraid to dig into. And every Wednesday, ease into the middle of your week with Wind Down Wednesday, your space to reset, release, and recharge. 3 shows, 3 experiences, 1 platform built on truth, growth, and connection. Support the movement, subscribe, share, and stay tuned. Mondays, Man in the Mirror. Tuesdays, Still a Man podcast. Wednesdays, Wind Down Wednesday. This is the Still a Man platform. Real talk, real life, real people.
This podcast provides a platform that will share many different points of views that should empower you, uplift you, make you want to go out and do right. When you hear the term still a man, say, yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Let's go.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Still a Man podcast. Tonight's topic, why are people leaving the church? Now, according to research, both the young and the old are leaving the church at an alarming rate. What is this due to? Where are they fleeing to? How do we get them to come back? Well, we're going to discuss all of that tonight. Right now, we got Patsy, we got Elijah, we got Sean, we got Gregory, we got Robert. And this makes up our panel thus far. Well, we got 8 questions, guys. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. First question of the night. Why are people leaving the church? Elijah, you want to start?
Thank you, David. Thank you for allowing me to be on this beautiful platform, which is Still a Man. The question at hand is a good question. From what I've seen and from what I've investigated, is a lot of people find a lot of hypocrites in these places, these worship places. It ain't just the church, but we can start with the church. They find a lot of hypocrites. A lot of people starting to read their Bible for themselves. They're finding out what the Bible actually saying and not what a lot of people are thinking it's saying. A lot of things that people also is noticing when it comes to this book, the 3 major religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. There's a lot of holes in their behavior, and you can judge the fruit by this tree. And when I read Revelation, the first ones who get judge, if we want to use a light word for it, is the church. So that let me know that the church is not going to be a standing institution because they're the first one to get judged. And out of 7 churches, only the Church of Philadelphia is the one that really makes it. You got another one that's iffy, but the Church of Philadelphia is the one that really makes it. The rest of the churches don't. So as we get in strong into these days of times, a lot of people is getting hit with information. You got Chat GPT, so they're asking questions. You got Google AI, they're asking questions. They're seeing how people's behavior. They're asking questions, seeing how pastors behaving, all those worship leaders are behaving. They're asking questions. They're seeing behind the scenes they're not doing what they're preaching. So a lot of that it takes an effect. So that's what I see.
Okay. Patsy, what about you? Why do you think people are leaving the church?
Mostly because they see hypocrites and judging. They feel like they're being judged for not appealing, not kind of going to the rules, and they're just like too judgy and everything. It's crazy. I'm trying to think of the word that I really want to say. Is like, um, there's too many rules and regulations that's not really of God and not really of the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not following biblical scenarios and how God wants us to live. They're twisting the Bible.
Okay. Gregory, what do you say? Why people flee the church at alarming rates?
It's this new era of wokeness. You got everybody trying to get back to some type of thing and don't know to turn to it because it's so much chaotic chaos coming from different realms. You never know. Look at the Dami Lala sucking on a boy's tongue. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
look at some of these people from the Christian churches that is gonna pass the collection plate around one more time because it's okay for the pastor to have a mansion. You get what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. And then you got other stuff going on too with people that are twisting religion and using it for their own benefits, trying to turn people into some form of a cult. You get what I'm saying? So you get turned off from that spiritual realm anyways because there's so much awakening going on. People using their mind nowadays.
Okay. Robert, same question. Why are so many people leaving the church?
I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with pretty much somewhat Elijah said. So I'm gonna leave it right there.
Okay. Sean?
I'm gonna agree with a good portion of what the panel has been saying, but instead of repeating everything that they said, I'll pick out one thing to where it's because I think for individual reasons that different ones are leaving the church. Like I think the way that they prioritize church in their personal lives, and sometimes church just doesn't line up for what they got going on in their personal life.
Mm.
I mean, like I said, like everybody touched on, cultural, social issues, political, hypocrisy, scandals, all that, Um, but and even some people's like, their theological beliefs, what they're now tapping into, or whatever the case may be. But with all of that, I think falls under a big umbrella of the individual themselves, how they prioritize church in general, and where does it fit in their schedule.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that has a lot to do with the order of operation, where people how they value religion, uh, preferably their commitment to God and their interpretation of the Bible and what the role of the church is and the parishioners, all those that the attendees, all those that attend church. I think there's some situations, depending on who you talk to, both the young and the old, they're no longer clear about what their role is, what their responsibility consists of, what does commitment look like. They're no longer invested in uh, religion that involves attending church per se. Some people have opted to, you know, just as Elijah said earlier, read their Bible, and that's sufficient for them. Um, the fellowship has become secondary, you know, and I just feel like the people who are easily distracted, you're like worrying about the wrong things. You're worrying about what everybody else around you is doing in church, and you should be there focusing on the word as opposed to what everybody else is doing. So I think that's part of the issue. But again, it depends on who you talk to, because let me just give y'all some personal. If I would have to base this question and people's findings in accordance to what I seen on Sunday at our church, Sean, it was packed to capacity.
Yes, it was.
And I was happy to see that. And my only question afterwards was like, wow, what's happening every other Sunday that we can't get in here like this? And and then when you talk about the hypocrisy, I mean, are they being hypocrites because they show up one day out the year? I mean, I don't know if I actually agree with that full-heartedly, that they're being hypocrites, but there's something that's compelling them to show up on some days, like around about Christmas time and Easter. Those are the times where you see the attendance is overflowing. So again, I think that's an even better question. What's going on that these guys are only, committed to coming on this day?
If I could, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean. I was about to ask anybody have anything to add.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. If I could add to what you just said, but that was a good point that you brought up. Traditionally, we've seen our churches packed on Easter and Mother's Day. So you have those that operate in that realm traditionally. And I think what we as the church ought to do is, we know that those are the days that people tend to pack out churches and this and that and the other. And so what we as a church probably need to do is try to figure out, like, once we get them in there, yeah, we can give them the traditional, the message and get to them this and that and the other. But then what do we have in place to try to get them, to entice them to get back into church again on a consistent basis?
Yes.
See, we know that they're going to come that day, so we can have all the, hoopla, all the
pageantry,
the pageant. There you go. We can have all of that for that. But then what other? And it sounds like, and I know to outsiders probably sound like, well, why are you trying to come up with gimmicks and this and the other? Well, it's not about really gimmicks. It's about how do we get them attracted to come back, because our job is to draw them to church. And then once they get there, we live the life, preach the word, this and the other, and let God do the rest. Because that's our only real job, is to just attract them, get them into the house. And make sure that once they get in the house, that the house is in order and moving by the Spirit, and allow the Spirit to do what it needs to do.
Like it.
Can I piggyback on what Sean's saying and what you're saying too, Dave?
Yeah.
The problem is, and not even a problem, we got different regions in the United States of America. New England is the slowest one to realize what's going on with church. No disrespect when I say that. Every other state's realizing what's going on with church. Only New England's the slow one. And what I mean by that is, the church was made for you to have assembly. Assembly is basically have a congregation. Everybody talk about what the Lord has done and how we can support each other when it comes to being around sinful stuff. That's what the church was for. Yet when you read your revelation, that this is a kid. As the time goes on, the church ain't here when everything really pop off. That's why the church be judged first. There's 7 of the scrolls and those 7 letters. And those 7 letters are warnings. They're not uplifting. They're warnings. Or you're going to be destroyed. It's 7 churches. Only one that makes it is Philadelphia. So when you see nowadays, a lot of people ain't attending church. Number one, a lot of people's questioning who these Jewish people are. They're going to have to go to the Bible. Number But too, a lot of people's finding out there was a lot of pedophilia and slavery going on in Islam. You got to go back to the Quran, which brings you back to the Bible. We already know what time it is with the Catholic Church, which got to have you go back to the Bible. So for you to really understand it, you're going to end up being a scholar or an investigator on really what's going on when it comes to your belief system. And besides New England, because there's a lot of Catholics up here, people realizing that the church is being fake, it's being phony, it's being hypocritical, and that's how it was written in the Bible. In the last days, it's going to be a far and away. In the last days, people's hearts going to turn cold. In the last days, people's going to be lovers of money. People's are lovers of title. Well, if that's going to happen, you can't. There's no getting it back when it's the end. There's no coming back on where we can grab them up and we can grab them up and get a word from the. Nah, the Lord said in the last days, I'm gonna write this in your heart and in your mind. That means you don't have to go to the next person and ask them, did you read your Bible? You know about your statute, laws, and commandments? You know about what Jesus Christ did? Nah, he's putting that in the hearts and minds. That's no church. That's no pastor. That's no a congregation. That's the Holy Spirit and the oil. If talking about the 10 virgins, if you read these stories, master the scriptures, which is the Old Testament and the New Testament, to fulfilling the scriptures, and the Paul's letters and the apostles are the commentators of the scriptures. But if you master these stories, that when hard time do come, you remember the same God who was with those people in the Old Testament is the same God that's with you now. The same Jesus who fulfilled what was written in the Old Testament is the same Jesus is here now. And you got the Holy Spirit who's your teacher. So the institutions that was made, which was churches, which was imitating the synagogues back in the days, which was imitating the temples, all of that institution get destroyed. That's in Revelations. And that's what we're seeing now. A lot of it is being destroyed because now you got stuff that was whispering in the ear is now being shouted on the rooftop. What that was hidden in the dark is now the light's being shined on it. And a lot of it is being phony. I pause there.
All right, let me bring Key into this. Kiana, welcome. So the first question of the night is, why are people leaving the church?
I mean, somebody already said it. There's a lot of people see a lot of hypocrisies, and unfortunately, like I said earlier, the world is looking good than the churches to a lot of
We
She
lost you.
broke up. I didn't hear her. She
I
broke up.
said, like I said earlier, the world is looking really good to a lot of people versus the church.
Okay. Like this. You guys are dropping jewels. Does anybody else have anything to add before we go to the next one? All right. Let's go to question number 2. Is the decline in church attendance due to, hold on guys, 1 second. Is the decline in church attendance due to the option of online church? Okay, that's a good question. Sean, you want to answer that one first?
I'm glad that was the second question because I was actually going to speak up on that in the first one. I believe that when COVID-19 hit and we were shut down and a lot of us got comfortable with being at home and online and realized that you know what, I don't have to go to the church house. I mean, I can get church. I mean, because you hear people say it all the time. I can get church in my own living room. I can do this. I can do that. Da, da, da. And I like what Elijah said earlier, that the church building was designed and organized for us to assemble and come together and worship together. And we can have our individual fellowship and worship and relationship with Christ, but we weren't designed to be by ourselves. We weren't designed to worship God by ourselves, you know? And so, yeah, I would say to that question that there was a slight declining happening before COVID-19 hit, but once it hit,
yeah,
then it just, boom, it magnified it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Robert, what do you say?
What was the question?
Is the decline in church attendance due to the option of online church services?
Personally, for me, yeah. I mean, I get to sit, come down in slippers. This is no disrespect to the church world. I get to come down comfortable as I want to. However, I am dressed. I get to eat, drink. There's things, do laundry at the same time, mop and sweep my floor, all at the same time. I am in church in my heart, mind, spirit, listening to the pastor, doing everything. I'm just not there with people, the church, the people. I'm not there with them, but I'm still getting the message. I'm still getting the goosebumps. I'm still praising and swaying and dancing around in my house. I won't tell you I'll be up on chairs, but I'll be up on chairs at times.
Okay. Patsy, what's your perspective?
Yeah, that could be part of the decline is the option to do it online instead of being in person. But I think like the decline of attendees started before COVID and before it was actually an option to do things online because people just like see how badly people are doing that are doing administrative duties, doing different things within the church, and they're um just hearing the gossip and everything, and they don't want to deal with negative, like all the negative Nancy's and all the negative stuff that's going on within the church. So that kind of turns people off, I guess. I know it did for me, you know.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Loving it. Key, what's your perspective?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
No worries. Question number 2. Has the decline in church attendance, well, I'll put it to you this way, is the decline in church services, church attendance, I should say, in-house attendance, due to the option of online church services?
I mean, I believe that's one aspect, but I don't believe it's the whole aspect. I think there's several reasons. Yes, people can find comfort in their own home. A lot of people, because of the pandemic, don't like crowds, don't like to be around other people, so they almost relegated themselves to self isolation. There's a lot of people who do that. Some people are older, some people can no longer get around. I think there's a multitude of reasons why people aren't attending church as they did pre-COVID.
Okay. G, what you say, Gregory? What's your perspective?
Um, I don't think it's because of the online churches, but because of the rise of spirituality and people not wanting to be confined to one thing and feeling like they want to go out there and explore different spiritual experiences. You get what I'm saying? Somebody might want to go out there and meditate or something and feel comfortable with Buddhism. You get what I'm saying? But according to certain religions, you're not supposed to practice other religions. So there's people being deterred that way. There's people that are finding comfort in different parts of different religions and not feeling like, oh, I gotta be confined to this one church. You get what I'm saying? So they're not gonna be coming in every other day. They're gonna seek different teachers and lessons and stuff like that.
Okay. Elijah, what's your perspective?
Well, yeah, kind of, yeah, the pandemic, but the pandemic shut down a lot of social construct. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying to you? Um, okay, we got generations. You know what I'm saying? So you got your generations. You know what I mean? X. You know what I mean? Your Generation Z's and all that. Silent generation and boomers. When it comes to the boomers in the Generation X, we still, especially Generation X, that's the people who was born in the 70s. We still got the old. We got a little bit, half, I would like to say. We got half of the old mind construct or the old mind way of thinking when it came to our spirituality. And we also the generation who got the new age spirituality also. We're like between both generations, what makes Generation X a unique generation. So when it comes to the mindset, when everybody when the world shut down for 4 or 5 months, of course you get bored, you got to adapt. A lot of people, and this is what I said about New England, Massachusetts, a lot of people started to research. Like a lot of people don't research here in Massachusetts who they are really under DNA. They don't. But if you go down to Connecticut and on, where I be at, they're doing the research. They know where they came from. They know who they are. They know what was their spiritual belief before Christianity slavery or before Muslim slavery or before Catholic. They know who they are now because they did the research when it was shut down. And when you do the research and stuff like that, that makes you question not just church, everything, but especially your spirituality. So when it comes to generation, especially my generation, not the generation who was born in the 70s, and again, it's all about demographics. We're starting to research and we're starting to see what is true and what is not true. And that's where, first of all, believing in Jesus Christ ain't supposed to be a religion anyway. It's supposed to be a way of life. So we researching the way of a way of life. We're doing things and we are learning a lot of these religions are bullshit. A lot of them is bullshit. A lot of them got things that's not in the Bible, especially church. A lot of stuff church is doing and Muslims, a lot of shit what they doing is not in the Bible. It's nowhere near in scriptures. It's tradition. It's and a lot of them is pagan stuff. If you really read the Bible, a lot of what church is doing are pagan.
Yes,
It's
sir.
pagan stuff. So when it comes to this stuff right here, it's really a generational thing. Like my father and their generations go to church. They missed church like 100 going north when it was the pandemic. When it comes to the baby boomers, they still go to church, but they do a traditional Christmas and New Year's or you know what I mean Resurrection Sunday, aka Easter. But with our generation, it's like a 50-50 because why? We're the generation who really research. Our parents and them didn't research. They did the continuation. We research. And because we research, that's what makes us question a lot of things that seem like a lot of old things we did before the pandemic is not the same. Put on pause. So that's the way I see it.
Okay, loving it. Timmy, welcome. We're on question number two, and question number two is the decline in church attendance due to the option of online church services?
I doubt it. I think people are fed up with the bullshit lies that they were being fed because
Facts.
now you can see where it goes all to the Jimmy Swaggers and all of them. They was bullshitting the people all along, brainwashing them, and these
Facts.
people were pouring in millions of dollars into these people's churches. They were, paying for everything. They was even serving them like they were some type of king or some shit. Now, the thing is, people, uh, uh, like Elijah said, they are reading for themselves. Not to mention all the nonsense that is going on and or been going on in all religions, not just one or two. It's all of them are doing it. They just being more discreet, and other religions are being exposed. But they all are doing it. They all are doing it.
Mm,
So now, where people are starting to see that their kids, are speaking out against the church, I'm talking about our parents who not our parents per se, but people's parents who were deeply rooted into the church that that were being touched and molested and all that stuff and being groomed and passed around and all that. So those people didn't get a chance to, speak their truth. And so our generation started, researching because we heard the stories, right? But we wasn't sure. But then when we start getting facts and if you believe and you're gonna agree with your parents. So they felt like let me look into more of this religions and then they started uncovering things, and then when they get too close, don't thinking when they get too close, they don't send members of the church or pay somebody to try to quiet them or bribe them to be quiet. Don't try to make the church look bad. It's a lot of that nonsense going on. And if you're real about what you proclaiming to be, you know, serving Christ, Jesus Christ, then the riches don't matter. The
Mm-hmm.
riches definitely don't matter. You gonna live comfortably without having to be flashing.
Okay. All right. So let me answer this question. Is the decline in church attendance due to the option of online church service? Um, I'm gonna say that's a contributing factor, but it's in the it's an individual decision. It's preference. Um, Me, I prefer to be in the house of the Lord as many Sundays as I can be. That's just my choice. But because I feel like the fellowship, the assembly of the saints, is something. It's a true experience when you're in the house. There's people. There's you can just feel it. You can just feel it, and the people around you. They it's it's like you the only way don't the only, I can't really describe it. You just have to be in the house to really like get the full range of what's going on, especially when the Holy Spirit is taking hold of you and others around you. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I will say this because you guys alluded to this, you referred to this several times in people's perspective that during the pandemic. Let me tell you about the pandemic. I think during the pandemic, that was a time where everybody could take time and you could self-reflect and you could take time, and now you was forced to take that time, read your Bible, get into yourself, get into the word, because that was the time that you was allotted to do so. But coming out of that, I don't think there was going to be any question about if there was going to be a return to the in-house church service. It was just going to be at what level. So the dropping of the attendance, I think, is due largely in part to people's preference. They may not be comfortable with the leadership. They may not be comfortable with the things you're talking about. Like Robin said, some people they find that they can go to church and multitask, do a whole bunch of different things that they watch online. But again, I think it's preference. If you choose to get up and go in, then that's what you're gonna do. You already know what you're gonna do before Sunday arrives. You're preconditioned to do so. But again, it's a choice. You make a choice if you're going to attend in-house service or that you're gonna watch online, or that you're just going to basically uh, be turned away, or you're going to turn away from it? Because no, let me be correct in saying this, that you're going to turn away from the traditional approach to church and stuff like that. So I think that's what it's due to. All right, everybody got a chance to answer that question. Let's go to question number 3. You guys are giving great answers. I'm loving this feedback. Question number 3. Have the church leaders become corrupted by money, sex, and power? Hold on, this is a long one. Okay, there it is. All right. So, has church leaders become corrupt by money, power, and sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation? That's a good one. Sean, you're up first. Gotta turn your mic.
No, I got you. I would answer it like this: have they become corrupted by, you said, money, sex, power, the whole
Yeah.
nine? These are things that have always been in place.
Mm-hmm.
There are individuals that how can I say this? That their mere existence is being famous, being powerful, being recognized, having money. That's, if you will, that's the human nature, the human side of it. And um, I won't go as far as, I don't never want to speak on this on different ones if this is not what there is, but how I look at it is sometimes they believe that they're the to the people, they're the closest thing to God that the people will even see
Mm-hmm.
or believe in. So I can say that there is some truth. I believe in this question.
Okay. So do you think that that corruption has alienated the righteous members of the congregation?
Um, has it alienated them? Because, and I'll answer it like this: because if you're righteous,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see through that, and instead of casting them to their side, like as the question may pose, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be praying for their souls to be better.
Love it. Love it. Duchess, you want to take a shot at that?
Come back to me.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Timmy?
Sean, what they
Yes,
would
sir.
do is, you say to try to. It's a lot of buffoonery going on because people, because they prey on the vulnerable, right? That's where, and then the with Dave's question to the Richard, if you looking at someone else pulling up at your church, he's a guest speaker and he's pulling up, he got furs on, he got gators, he's dressed down, you know, you gonna be like, damn, why can't I get that? So now you gonna press your congregation to try to get where that person's at. And again, as I was saying about how they just be using the 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 using religion to gain riches, because a lot of these people that are out there, there's some that are really about what they're doing, and they don't have to flaunt nothing. They got, solid businesses. They're not living beyond their means, trying to be flashy and trying to keep up with the Joneses that got it like that. And then some of them don't got it like that. They trying to be more than what they are. So yeah, it's definitely that out there for sure. Definitely. And it's sad because the ones who really ain't about that, they get pushed to the side like they ain't even doing nothing. And those people are out here on the beat, them people that got the riches, they only focusing on people who got money because they give a bigger donation.
Mhm. Sean, can I go on to Patsy, or do you want to add to that?
If I could get 3 seconds,
Go ahead.
real quick. To that, I say, Tim, and I don't disagree with anything that you said, but to that, that is also uh, the level of maturity that people are at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have for that.
All right. I'm gonna go on to Patsy. Patsy, question number 3. Have the church leaders
And
become
I agree. I agree 100%, Sean.
okay.
Definitely.
So Patsy, question number 3, have the church leaders become corrupted with money, power, sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation?
Um, as far as like them being um it's more the unrighteous pastors and preachers that are not that are into the riches, the sex, and all that stuff, and um so I don't know if they actually alienating
Mm-hmm.
the righteous. They're just ignoring them. They could be putting them down, be like, oh, well, you need to be more like us, and da da da, and trying to lead them into their sins
Mm-hmm.
of being sexually immoral, being more into the money and everything like that. Um, but the preachers that are more righteous, they're looking into leading the congregation into doing the right things, doing this, that, and the other. That it's more about following God than following the money pattern and
Got it.
everything that comes underneath the money situation, because um not that money is the root of all evil, but the love of money is the root of all evil. So if you're loving money, you're loving the sexual immorality and everything that else that follows underneath that will lead you into sin. And and they're really alienating themselves from the church, because the righteous and the people that are really trying to follow God and really trying to live as sinful free as the best that they can. I know they're not perfect like Jesus, but they're trying to be a little bit more sinless,
Okay.
so to speak. So the righteous congregation, part of the congregation, sees through all that, and of course they're going to pray for the unrighteous. they're not claiming to be perfect. They're just claiming to be more godly.
Like it. Robert, same question. Gregory, you with us?
Yep.
Have the church leaders become corrupted by money, power, and sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation?
I believe, like Sean said, it's always been about that. That's the reason why they had to separate church and state, because certain religious fanatics, extremists, started using religion laws to basically prosecute people and stuff, or just having a crazy type of like that king that sent everybody around to kill all the young boys in a certain village because he heard that it was going to be a new Jesus born over there or something. You get what I'm saying? So it's always a dynamic of power where somebody is using the religion at the top to control everybody else, and it's always been that way. That's how you got them Catholic priest that was over there sucking off these little boys' penises, and nobody's doing nothing about it because they're making it seem like it's a ritual or something. Or to go back into the paganism part about how, look at how they incorporated the whole eating the flesh and drinking the blood of somebody. And when you get into that type of stuff, that's paganism. That is a straight some type of ritual. You get what I'm saying? So it's witchcraft, and they incorporate it into your religious text and make everybody else participate in these things. You get what I'm saying? So it's always been a power dynamic, and it doesn't have to corrupt everybody, but it's damn sure gonna corrupt a whole bunch of people if it's going the right way for a long time now.
Okay. Duchess, you with us? Okay. Robert, you back?
Yes.
All right, question number 3. Have the church leaders become corrupted by money, power, and sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation?
Some of them. I ain't gonna say all, because there's some good church leaders out there that you still can, trust. You still have respect for them. But there's a lot out there for personal gain. Yes.
I'm here.
All right. Robert, you done?
Yes, I am.
All right, Duchess, you need the question or you ready?
I need a question.
Okay. Question is, have the church leaders become corrupted by money, power, and sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation?
Some, not all. Some who, especially those who are in the spotlight, have been blinded by the spotlight, the money, even their ego has grown more than them wanting to preach the word.
Hmm. Hmm. Like it. Elijah, same question.
Um, I think it was designed for that to happen, and with the fame and forgetting about the flocks, it was constructed for that to happen. You got and because I do a lot of studying and reading and stuff, y'all got for instance, right, Dave. This ain't no gotcha moment. This ain't no gotcha moment. Is the church supposed to be out in the forefront, or is it supposed to be underground?
Good
It's
question.
not a gut. It's not a gotcha moment. I just want to, where the level of our mindset is.
Um, so if I was to answer that, I would say out front because we are the church and we're supposed to be spreading the word and the
I
word of
got you.
God.
The Bible don't say none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Churches says that. This is what it is. When it comes to this stuff right here, there was an order. The order was strictly for a family bloodline, which we all know is called the children of Israel or the Hebrew Israelites. That's the bloodline. Old Testament was strictly for them. When you get to the New Testament, you got it, the transformation, which went into Greek. When the Greek came along, the Greek gave different definitions from Hebrew. So if you got a definition from Hebrew and then you read it in Greek, those are two different meanings. Church was an underground organization. Why? Because when the Romans destroyed the temple in 70 AD, and Paul went out to Tarsha, aka Spain, to gather up the lost sheep, those lost sheep became Gentiles. Now, in today's time, they would say Gentiles is anybody who's not a Jew or who's not Jewish. And that's a lie. If you go by the definitions, a Gentile is anyone who has been part of the children of Israel, forgot who they are, been damn near wiped out in their memories because of generations of whatever happened of curses and slavery, that they was now Gentiles. And when they accept Jesus, what he has done, only way they can accept it because the story was passed down through their family. So they knew about Israel. They knew about these stories. So they gravitate to it. Now, the land they was living in, Corinth, the land they was living in, Ephesia, the land they was living in, Thessalonica, those people was living a different culture. So you had to go underground to teach these things. This is why Paul got locked up. This is why Peter got locked up. It was an underground book, and that's why you had, okay, you got questions, I got answers, and because I can't answer you like that, I'm going to put these leaders out here. Well, they remember how the leaders used to be in the Old Testament. A pastor is really an old school Levi. This is why a pastor feel like he's the middleman between you and God. Why? Because the Levi was the middleman between you and God. When it came to knowing the spirituality for the people, the Levites, the one who learned the spirituality for the people. Today's time, we'll call them the deacons. So they will help you out when it comes to your spiritual growth. All of these have changed because it became underground. And then when it happened, when it came to the Reformation of the Catholics, once they got these scrolls and these letters, they start doing play. We call it whitewash. So now the Catholics is the new Levi, the high priest. And now you got the popes in them as the new Levi's, or should I say the new deacons. And that's not how it was in the beginning. For instance, today's time, we would say sin is when you're doing immoral stuff, which really sin is when you're transgressing against the law of God. That's the real true meaning of sin. But when we commercialize, when we put it up to the front seat, now it's not an underground book. Now it's a culture, or it's a play, and it's not taken serious. But the roles still gonna have people have that mentality. I'm the only one who can know what God says, thus says the Lord, which is bullshit. We're the only way we can get salvation if we go through the church, which is bullshit. They do the music on purpose. There was no music like that in the Old Testament. Everybody sung like a musical. Everybody has to do with this type of construct or this type of settings or this type of schedule. That's not how it was in the synagogues back in the days or in the temple back in the days. But when the Catholics and every single church institution came out of Catholics, not the bishops, not the Protestants,
Yes,
not the
sir.
Baptists, not the Mormons or the LDS. All of them came out of the Catholic Church. They started switching up since Martin Luther. Then you got your Tinsdale. Then you got your Justin the Martyr. Then you got your Wycliffe. And then you got your the Congregation of the 52 who put the Bible of 1611. But if you do your studies, go back and really research. Number one, they put in the burning. Number two, they're lying. Number three, they're doing live paganism. And then you will see why a lot of people say, you know what? I ain't messing with the institution of church. I'm just going to focus on me and the Lord and me me and God and me and Jesus. Because a lot of it is, if you go to the original, a lot of it is play. A lot of it is tradition, and everybody loves their tradition. They love the gospel of Paul more than the gospel of Jesus. That's why the churches always turn to Paul's letters and never turn back to what Jesus or what the old gospel says. The churches tell you it's a new covenant. Now everybody's grafted in, and it never was like that in the Old Testament or in Jesus' letters. So you're going to get corruption. You're going to get pastors up here freaking with the children, which they got from Judaism. You're going to get, niggas is into the money and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they got from the Caliphate, which was the Moors. You're gonna get all this stuff that's not right because it's all being fake. That's why, to me, I say the best thing is for an individual to read the Bible for herself, and God will bring you people that you can be in your own living room and y'all have in church without the music, which is the 430 hertz, to get your mind open, without the fake congregation that love you in church, but outside the church they're talking about you like a dog. And last but not least, putting the yoke on a person's shoulders so heavy that nobody can even uplift that. I'm gonna leave this and then I'm gonna lay my plane here.
All right.
Jesus, when he was beefing out here, when he was walking on the earth, he was beefing with today's pastors. They called the Sanhedrin. You need to research on these people. He was beefing with today's Catholics. They were called the Pharisees. He was beefing with today's Muslims. They was called the Sanhedrins. Why? Because these people wasn't the real people. They was the fake people. So when Jesus came on the scene, when John the Baptist came on the scene, these people are the bloodline, the 12. They are the bloodline. Everybody else was all admixtures, or I like to say, was all other people that's coming in to their land and try to adopt to their religion and take
Imposters.
over their religion. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
land my plane.
All right. So let me try to simplify this.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna answer this question too. Question number 3. Have the church leaders, become corrupted by money, power, and sex, subsequently alienating the righteous members of the congregation? Well, I'm going to simplify this. So I think that, yes, they have become corrupted because a lot of the leaders of the church, they want to be worshiped. They want to become the word, and the word is God. So they want to be worshiped like God. They want to be the only thing anybody's talking about. So that's that part of the question. And then does this type of behavior alienate the righteous members of the congregation? I think so, to a certain extent, because what's going to happen is you're going to have the more righteous members of the church that are not afraid to check the leaders, keep them, remind them of their role, tell them when they're going astray, holding them to the word. Those individuals, they're going to turn away from the church that has those type of leaders because to be they don't want to be involved with anything like that. They don't want their name to be attached to anything like that. And they don't want to be present because they don't want none of that to infiltrate their mindset. Yes, they're going to pray for you, but they more than likely are going to turn away from that church. Not church altogether, but that church where all the corruption's in. All right, guys. Y'all making some valid points, and we are only on question number 4. Wow.
Hey Dave. Hey Dave.
Yes.
The reason why pastors feel like they're the mediator between man and God is that was the position. That was the original position. Before Jesus came, you had the Levites, and now you got Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the high priest. It's in the Melchizedek thing. That's a whole different story, but it's in the high priest. The high priest always was the mediator. The high priest is the first son of man. He was always the mediator. And when Jesus came, Jesus brought everything back into his original order. But the Catholic Church kids, since the Pope, they the one who rearranged everything. That's why I said, please, y'all, do y'all studies in the originals. Because if we go for right now, today's time, China used the Bible the way it's really used. Niggas get harassed if they go to church. They get damn near killed if they go to church. That's the real Bible. People in Iraq is getting the Bible's being worked the way it's supposed to. They can't go to church like they want to. They can't be going to a congregation and without being harassed, being threatened. That's how the Bible really works. In America, the Bible ain't working. It's a play because there's nobody harassing you or serving a different God. And it's play. It's more of a tradition religion, but it's not the real thing because that beautiful book, the Bible, people will kill you if you keep on reading that book because you're bringing a whole different ideology. You're bringing a whole different mindset to the people, to the land, and they don't want that. That's what made the book dangerous. Not in America, but anywhere else. That's what made the book dangerous because it's a real book. There's no threats here in America, so you can have play with the pastors. Thus says the Lord, lying behind. I land my plane.
Stay right there because I'm gonna come to you first. All right, guys, we on question number 4. We got 8 questions to get through, so let's get the mini skirt versions of these answers if possible. All right, question number 4. Elijah, I'm gonna start with you. Question number 4. According to research, young people have abandoned the church. Excuse me, hold on, guys. Okay. According to research, young people have abandoned the church because it has the inability to appeal to the current modern young people's ideology. Do you agree or disagree with this?
I agree like 100 going north. Again, we're dealing with Marines, man. We're dealing with scholars. We're dealing with young scholars who's doing research. Like I said, no disrespect to Massachusetts, which is the smartest state and the richest state in the whole United States. But when it comes to spirituality, it's the slowest. It is actually the slowest. So when it comes to young people, they're researching. They're looking up. You got Chat GPT. My daughter's asking about idolatry. I gave her a book about it, and she's 13. So they're researching, and when the more they research, they can call out the lies in what their parents are doing. They can call out the lies what their grandparents are doing, and they can call out lies what the institutions are doing. Because back in my days, we wasn't researching like that. We had to do it until we got a certain age, and then that's when we can find out, oh, we've been caught up into some type of organization, jail, or another religious group, and then you find out different things. But young people these days, they're researching. They are researching. They're looking up. When you tell them stuff, they're gonna look up to prove you wrong, or to see what you're talking about, so they can have a conversation with you. It ain't like back in the days of the 80s and 90s. These young brothers and sisters are really spirituality. Yes, true enough, waking up, but also not just waking up and waking up and researching is what they're woken up to. Is it facts or not?
Okay. Kate, what's your perspective?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, I will. According to research, young people have abandoned both traditional religion and church because they feel that the church has an inability to appeal to their ideology.
I believe that may be true for some, but if you raise a child in the ways that they should go, they will not depart too far from it. So I also disagree.
Patsy, what about you?
Some kids, yes, they might be turned away from the church because of they're not being appealed to. But I'll agree with Kiana. It's like if you're teaching your child and about God and the Bible and everything, and if they have questions and you're answering honestly about your beliefs and how you were taught things, they might question it, and that's okay. It's like, okay, but at least if you're teaching them to the best understanding, and if you can explain what your answer is and they're still confused, then someone in the church or someone that you know that can explain what you're talking to them about with the Bible and what biblically what the questions are. Then you have that conversation. You're keeping the communication open, just like anything else in life that they're questioning.
Hey, Patsy, not to cut you, sweetheart, Why people don't research themselves instead of asking the next man?
Mhm.
I never understood that. Why you can't research yourself? All you gotta have is a fifth grade education. Why you can't research yourself instead of
No,
asking the
no,
next
I'm
man?
not saying they haven't researched it. Yes, and that's part of why, like, talking to other people and they can, like, researching is part of the thing,
Mhm.
and explaining to your child what what biblically things are, but you have to have that conversation, and you can research with that child and young adult to let them.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yes,
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Bless you. Thank
And
you.
also to explore, have them explore other perspectives of religious backgrounds, so they can have a comprehension of how they believe and what their practices are, and just the umbrella of different Christian groups, and just the umbrella of, okay, what do the Jews believe and how they practice in the synagogue? Just kind of like explore different religions and get an understanding of comprehension of what their belief systems are and what their beliefs and practices are, so that way they could have a conscious and educated um knowledge of everybody's perspective. It's not to be judgy on that, but yeah, they can be turned off, but then you gotta, like, reel them in and be like, okay, well, try to explore different venues, and then you can understand better of what the Bible and who God is, and then you can decide from there and how you want to build up your beliefs.
Pause right. Go ahead, Patsy.
Yeah, that's basically, it's like you got to explain to them and help them to explore different places.
Okay. Robert, let's get your perspective. Robert, Gregory, let's get your perspective.
Let me get the question again so I can answer it the right way.
According to research, young people have abandoned both traditional religion and church because its inability to appeal to young people's ideology.
I don't think it's their inability to appeal. I think it's like App said earlier, we're more privy to information now. So we can go back and find out that the pilgrims came over on a ship called Jesus Christ with the Bible and got a whole nation of people to start reading the Bible and didn't want you to read anything else at a point in time because this is all you needed to know. You get what I'm saying? And we can go back in time and figure out that when the Vikings and the Norse people, whatever they was, the people of the forest and stuff was out there living off the land. They had these church people come over there and start killing everybody if they didn't conform to their religion. You get what I'm saying? Or the not look at the Nazis. Look at them. Look at your other cults. What's his name? The guy that made everybody drink the Kool-Aid all through religion. So you gotta see people as looking into, I'm not just going to listen to what you're telling me. I'm going to go research this stuff and figure out the history and try to put things in place before I start just believing one thing. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a certain point in most religions where you're not even supposed to believe in other people's religions for some reason. And that, to me, right there is just a weird key of separation. I would never understand that. Like, you think these people are going to hell because they don't believe in the same thing as you is crazy.
Okay.
Hey,
Sean?
hey, Gregory, and not to cut you. Hey, Greg.
Hold on,
Oh, okay,
guys.
my fault, my fault, my
Hold on.
fault, my fault.
Hold on. Before we gotta get these questions in before we do any rebuttals. Hold on
Okay.
one second.
Now
Sean?
it was an add-on. I got you.
Yeah. Sean? Sean,
Um,
you ready?
yes,
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to go this route. The question was that the young people are very. Give the question again so I
So
can
according to
say.
research, young
Mhm.
people are leaving the church because they no longer basically adhere to traditional religion and church, and the church's inability to appeal to this generation, the younger generation's ideology.
I'll agree with that uh, for the most part, and I'll throw this part in here to where this generation, because we're talking about this generation, I truly believe didn't start off being religious or church goers and Bible believers from jump. One, because the generation of parents before them probably did not teach them, probably was a group of parents that sent their children to church or Sunday school, whatever, but didn't attend it themselves.
Mm.
And so the influence that was around them was greater than what their parents who did have the sense to send their children to church. Because when you send your children to church, they're only going to church maybe once or twice a week to where everyday life around them can have a stronger pull.
Mm. Okay. Timmy?
I'm gonna say this. In the in the 50s and 60s, the 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 gospel was, straight up praising. Okay. So in the 70s and 80s, when the people, and it was a lot of R&B singers that came up in the church, great, great, great singers that made a transition because they wanted to reach the next generation. Okay, so they transfer into the R&B. Now that was forbidden to do that, but those people who did it to reach a higher plateau, or reach a greater audience, right? Okay, so then come in the 90s and 2000, now you have been more uh church integrating R&B, hip hop into gospel, right? Which is it's they've been doing that since back in the times anyway, right? But they felt okay now we because they was against hip hop, like they was against R&B. So they was against hip hop. Then you got a Kurt Franklin. He come out. He got his chorus, congregation doing their little thing, hip hop and R&B crossover mix with gospel, right? So doing that, they felt like we're gonna bring in the young people. Now they did at that time Kurt Franklin, the Mary, Yolanda Adams, and all those, and DJ Hatton, all those cats, right?
He has joined the meeting.
But when a lot of controversy and personal life issues were coming up and amongst these people's lives, then society have a way of saying, well, we believed in you and you let us down, so we're not gonna rock with you no more, and which could kill your damn career in a heartbeat. You could be on top of the clouds one day, 2, 3 days, or the next day, you down back where you came from.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can simplify this. So, and then after I do this, we're gonna go into we're gonna pay the bills. So let
Well,
me see.
may I get a try at it,
Oh,
please?
Robert, I didn't even know you didn't get. Go ahead. Well, I called you. You wasn't here. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if this is gonna make any sense. To me, I thought about it. For the young and the old at these churches, I think the problem is people are. Let me see how I can put it in letters. People tend to do this. They look for the S and H and minus the F. What I mean by that, they go to church. The S is they're paying attention to what they see, how people dress and move. Then the H is they're paying attention to what they hear, who's talking to the neighbor and about what. I always believe that the story never changed in the Bible if you really know the Bible and you know Jesus. So the minus F is what they're forgetting about and what they need to pay attention to most. When you go to church, the F is for feel. When you sit in there, you hear and see the pastor preach, the choir sing, the angels, or whatever feelings you get. You're going for the feeling. So pay attention to how it makes you feel while you're there and what feeling you take when you leave.
Well said. Well said. All right, let me touch this real quick. So again, according to research, they're saying that young people abandon traditional religion and church due to the church's inability to basically appeal to the younger generation's ideology. I disagree because I think that depends on the individual and who you're talking to. Because a lot of these children, the younger generation, are deeply rooted in church. They get their 10 toes down, as they would say. Their level of commitment in some situations is higher than those that have been in the elder generations. Um, then there are those that choose not to participate in church in any shape or form. So you really should have conversations with them as to what's wrong with the church because they're not even attending. They're just going by what someone posts online and stuff like that. And in some situation but there are others that have attended church and they've left for whatever reason. Okay, so I would say this to those young people. If you find that the church that you once attended wasn't appealing to you, and if you wasn't getting what you needed out of there, you felt like they couldn't meet you where you was at, then there are so many different churches. There's a whole bunch of different churches in every neighborhood. So you just have to find one that suits your needs. But I
Hey,
will say,
Dave,
hold
you don't
on,
find that a problem, Dave?
hold on. Let
I'm
me
just
finish.
asking you. You don't find
Let
that?
him finish.
Hold on, let me finish. So I would
Who's yelling
say,
at me?
hold on. I would say this, right? If
Don't be
that is
yelling at me.
if that's the problem, I would say this. Then you are probably um going to church for all the wrong reasons. And that's when you need to take time and do some self-evaluation. And you probably should take some time out, study the word before jumping back into any church, because the problem might not be with the church. The problem may be with you. All right, hold tight. Let me pay these bills real quick. This episode is sponsored by EmporiumPlus.org. EmporiumPlus.org is an online store. If you can't find what you're looking for in this store, then you are not shopping in the right store. Robert, tell all the viewers what brands they can find at EmporiumPlus.org.
We got a shirt called God Said by Adapt or Perish. You can find that with the following brands at EmporiumPlus.org. And we forever, Still a Man, Youth Serum, SOS Support Our Sisters, Adopt or Perish Ladies First, some merch at EmporiumPlus.org. For our subscribers, continue on watching, smash the like button, spam a comment. For those who haven't yet subscribed, come on over, subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing. While you're at it, smash a like, spam a comment, tell a friend.
Thank you, thank you. Elijah, I'm going to start with you with question number
Hold on,
5.
Uncle D. I wanted to add something to that last one because I think there was something y'all forgot. There's a dynamic in there where Uncle T was talking about it almost, but he missed it. From the 70s, well, when everybody was ballroom dancing and wearing suits and nice dresses and stuff, everybody was going to church. But then there came a dynamic around the 80s, 90s where everybody was making fun of people that went to the church. They would call people church boys. You sang in the choir, they probably thought you was feminine. Not to mention that some of these people did actually turn out to be on the other side and they was going to church. You get what I'm saying? So there is that dynamic too. When you had these songs where people was talking about the pastor's kid or whatever, pastor's child, whatever they was calling these people. You get what I'm saying? So there
Mhm.
was a dynamic where it was made uncool to be that church person. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Okay, so let me see if, at the risk of sounding redundant, I try to answer Elijah's last question too that he opposed. Excuse me, that he brought up. Uh, when he said, "Do I see a problem with it?" I said that if you find that you can't find comfort, solace, or you can't find what you're looking for in any church, then more than likely you may be the problem. It may have nothing to do with the church. So you need to do some self-reflection, do some private like studying at home with the word before returning to any church.
Not to mention, Uncle D, most of these dudes in the black America don't find no type of religion until they go to jail.
All right, so maybe this question number 5, Will, you can answer this. You'll answer what you're about to what you're referring to. All right, and this is referring to men. Here we go. Elijah, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you, man. I
All
had to
right.
calm down, but I'm with you.
No, no,
Just
no
don't
worries.
yell
No,
at me.
no
Don't yell at me. We
worries.
don't check. All
All
right,
right.
go ahead.
Question number 5. Are men fleeing the church due to the sudden influx of women in the pulpit, or is it the fear that both the church and the pastor is grooming the female congregation to put the church's needs before the man's needs?
Well, the women's are the weaker vessel anyway, so you're gonna cater to the woman easily if you want to get your popularity going. You do whatever the woman likes, and then you can get it growing, and you can start manipulating through that. That's been any product. You always want to sell it to a female first because they're the weakest vessel. But what I would like to say on this part right here is that why is Jesus is judging the church? I mean, I'm hearing the conversation. I'm still questioning why Jesus is judging the church.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
Anybody in that panel, can y'all answer that? Why is Jesus is judging the church?
well, let's simplify this. Did you answer the first? You feel like that you adequately answered question number
I,
5?
I said yes. I said that when it comes to selling a product in a nutshell, they always go for a woman because the women are the weakest vessel. So when it comes to catering or manipulating situations, they would use the women first.
Okay, so your second question, let that,
Why is Jesus is judging the churches?
all right,
There's only seven. There's only seven churches. I know we got 115,000 churches. There's only seven style of churches. That's in your Bible. Why is Jesus is judging them?
okay, first, put a pin in that, and we're gonna come back to that, we're gonna come back to that. Let me let these women, answer this question, and then come around, and we're gonna come right back to your question, because I got an answer for you. Ladies, question number 5. Gentlemen, I'm gonna get to you too. Um, let me see. Duchess, you still with us? Kiana?
Yeah, I'm
She
here.
got
All right. Uh, are men fleeing the church due to a sudden influx of women in the pulpit, or is it the theory that both the church and pastor are grooming their women to place their needs before the needs of the man and family?
What? You're trying to piss me off. But what is the question?
Again, this is what's on the internet. Are men fleeing the church due to a sudden influx of women in the pulpit, or is it the theory that both the church and the pastor is grooming the female members of the congregation to put the church's needs before both the family and the man's needs?
Okay.
that's my question.
Uh,
That's like three
yeah,
questions in one.
let the spirit move you.
Okay, I feel that if men are leaving a church because they're being preached over by women, it's because they want to leave the church. Nobody can make you leave the church if that's what you really want it to be. You're just using it as an excuse.
Bingo.
And it's also weak-minded people who would think that, because that's all, I'm going to say my favorite word, that's all a patriarchal system to keep women subjugated as second-class citizens.
Mhm.
That's one.
Mhm.
So then the part two is are they grooming the women of the church to put
The
the
needs
church's
of the church.
business in front of
Yes.
their own?
Yes.
Again, nobody can make you do anything that you don't want to do. So if you believe that a church is over your family and your family's needs are not important, then you don't take your role as a wife important, you don't take your role as a mother importantly, and you also don't take your role in the church importantly. So you should be able to prioritize all three of those things. That's it.
Preach,
Patsy?
sister. Preach.
Patsy?
I really don't believe, like, if a man is leaving the church, they really got an old fashioned, a biblical sense of women are not allowed to preach over the congregation because that's not her role. But even Jesus had women disciples. So,
Who?
um,
Who?
Wait, let her finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so therefore, you do have strong women of faith and of God, of a godly aspect. But you, and so therefore, like, I don't think that the church is grooming women to lead in the church. They acknowledging that there are certain women that have the strength and the capacity to lead in the church, and everything. So if they're helping, and I think part of the thing with the women leading in the church, yes, they can preach on the pulpit, but as far as like, but they do probably have like study groups, and they have the women's study group and the men's study group. Yes, men should be leading over the men's study group, and the women should be leading over the women's study group. But they seeing strong, faithful women in the church. They know how to lead and know how to speak the word and really teach and getting people to understand what the Bible is saying about different situations in the Bible, different passages, and know how to explain it in a good, well-meaning way.
Well said, well said. Sean, what's your perspective?
Question again, please.
So, men leaving the church due to influx of women in the pulpit, or is it due to the theory that both the church and the pastor are grooming their women to place the church's needs before both the family and the man?
Um, was not aware of any of those things. I mean, if you look at the dynamics of the church, women are the majority roles in church. And I'll go out on a limb and say this, that if it wasn't for women, a lot of churches would collapse worse than they actually do.
Say it.
And so, with that being said, there are men that tend to leave church because women are in the forefront. What are they doing to step up as men in the church? I believe that's the reason why the church is in the state that it is because we as men aren't in our rightful place.
Mm. Mm.
And so until that takes place, the church will continue to move in the way that it's been moving. Because it's unfortunate, and I mean those that that knows scripture, knows word, knows God's order, this and the other. I believe that that is the actual time when Christ will come back, when he's looking for his church. He's looking for the church. When he says looking for a church without spot or wrinkle, he's looking for the church to be in order from top to bottom, the way that he designed the church to be.
Brimich, what do you say?
Well, I think I'm going to say God moved me in this way to deliver this. You guys, I told you, you're going to church and you're not going there for the feel. You're going there for the word. It doesn't matter who is delivering it, long as they deliver it well, you perceive it, you take it in, you understand. You walk away feeling good, better than you felt before you enter that building. So when you leave, you should feel great. I will
So is
say
it self
this.
help?
I
Is it
will
self
say
help,
this.
Bobino?
I'm just going to finish. I will
No,
say
I
this.
was asking a question. Is it self help then? It's a self help book. It's a
Well,
self help.
check.
It's a self help building. It's
Yes,
self
and
help.
if you want
All
a certain
right.
amount of serving, you will get more if you ain't get enough. Now, I'm going to say this to you. Women, I kind of prefer them to deliver the word now. What's wrong with the church? Men are so threatened by a woman's touch. You need them the most. That's why it's happening in our world right now. More women pastors. They're coming to clean up the mess that the children have done playing in that house. So they're putting their mother's touch to it, nurturing, healing, and moving us forward. And then there'll be a change.
G, what you say?
Come on, Robert.
First off, any man that is leaving the church because the woman is in the pulpit or she's in the congregation, that is because that man is a homosexual. He needs to get himself right with God. And second of all, the only person that's being persuaded. What was the second part of the question? So I can use the right word. What
They
did you say?
say that they're grooming the woman to put the church's need before the
There we
man's.
go. The only thing that the pastors are grooming the women for is to sleep with them. And after they sleep with certain members of the congregation's wives, one of those members might turn around and sleep with the pastor's wife.
All right. Timmy? Okay, I'm going to
Hold
answer
on.
this.
Hold on. I was on mute.
All right.
Okay, I look at it like this. The reason why men are leaving the church because they don't found their baby mama and their wife already. So it's time to go to another church so another dude in the church won't be trying to take their damn wife or their baby mama.
Hmm.
Now, as far as them grooming the women, well, you could, like Kiana said, you can if you choose to be groomed. That is, everybody can't be groomed. Everybody ain't airheaded and simple minded where they don't recognize things. So if you those two things I said, then you can be manipulated.
Okay. Everybody pause. Let me answer this question. And I'm going to go back to answer Elijah's question. And then, guys, mind you, we're only on question 5. And then we're going to go to question 6. So we got a limited amount of time. So we're going to have to shorten these answers. All right. Anything else that y'all want to go in depth about, we can take it up in the green room. All right. That being said, I'm going to answer question number 5. All right. Men fleeing the church sudden to an influx of women in the pulpit. Yeah, except for this. Certain men, yes, they are, because they are threatened by the women or they are misinterpreting the Bible, the scripture. So, there are some people that believe that women should never be in a position of leadership when it comes to the church or anything else. That is a man's position and a man's position only. Okay, that being said, you are entitled to your opinion. However, there are women that are thriving in the pulpit and they are bringing about a resurrection to a dying church foundation. So that's what I'm seeing. Now, are they grooming the female attendees to put the church's needs and the pastor's needs before the rest of the family, including the man? Depends on who you're talking to. Depends on what man's in the pulpit. So it depends on what woman is allowing themselves to give over to that way of thinking. Now, whereas Elijah said I told you I was going to come back to it, got an answer for you. Why is Jesus judging the church? I think that Jesus is judging all of us because what people fail to remember or what people forget is we are the church. So all of us are being judged. All of us, all at all times. He sees all, he hears all. So all of us are being judged. We are a part of the church body. We are the church body that makes up the house of the Lord. So that's my simple.
Dave, that's not what I mean. I'm hearing y'all answers,
That's
but
that's
none of that.
that's that's
Hold
you
on,
asked me
David.
that.
Hold on, David. None of it. I know. Hold on, baby. None of that is in the Bible. That's opinion. I want to hear scriptures. Give me verse and chapters. You're giving me opinions. That's not what's said.
I
Like you
so
said, no woman ain't supposed to be preaching. That's not in the Bible. The Bible says a woman's not supposed to be preaching. That's not man. That's in the Bible.
okay.
That's
So
in the Bible that we're all the church, that's why we're all getting judged. No, sir. It's a congregation that's being judged in the seven styles. That's in the Bible,
aren't
brother.
we a
So when
part of
I
it?
ask is
Are
when
we
I
not? Are we not the
He
congregation?
just said that.
Are
oh,
we
hold
not the?
on.
It's
When it
never.
comes when it comes to the congregation, when it comes to the seven churches, the seven style, he's directing at the leaders who's teaching these congregations. And this is the judges, what they're teaching them. And he's judging them on what they're teaching them. There's seven styles that he's teaching them, not the people. He's talking about the leaders of the congregation.
And
That's
here,
why when he gets to chapter 6, there's no more churches. You know what I'm saying? But there's still saints. Now, we're the saints. When we get together, we congregate. And again, there was no such thing of a word church. It's called assemblies. So when we
Okay.
got together, we assemblized and we uplift each other because it's hard times. We
Okay.
uplift
So
and
each
so
other
here,
because they
here,
don't
pause.
want us to.
Pause.
here's
Pause.
where we'll
Okay.
go with that. Because you just broke it all down like that, you're doing tomatoes and tomatoes. You know what we're saying.
No, I don't.
No,
That's
you
why I
do
asked you. No,
because
no, I
because
don't.
no, because you just clarified it by using the so-called proper terminology. So let's just go with your terminology that you just used, and just we'll take out the word church and put in assembly. It's
Meaning a
still the
synonym.
same.
Meaning a
But
synonym.
But hold on. The assembly is a group of people that's being led by a person. The saints is individuals that's being led by Christ. It's a difference. It's not the
Okay.
same.
But
There is
again, let me
he,
go. Hold on, Sean. Let me break this down. Let's simplify this for the sake of time.
mhm.
Again, in order to have in-depth conversation about this at this point, we're gonna have to revisit those questions like that during the green room. But I will say this to you, Elijah, again, be it the saints or the members of the assembly, we are all being judged. We are all a part of God's church. We are
Mhm.
all part of the God body, and that's what makes up the church.
But
That's
that's
why
not
Basically,
the judgment, though. That's not what the Bible says.
I
That's
we
not the
will
judgment.
we'll put a pin in it. We're gonna come back to this in the green room because we don't
Got you.
we don't have
Got
enough
you.
time to go in depth right now.
Got you.
All
I
right.
Got you.
got the answer. They're
Oh,
being
no, no,
judged
no,
because the
no,
church
no,
was
no.
corrupt in those days.
Yeah,
In the
all right,
green room.
in the green room. Just let's get through these other ones because all right. Let me see. I you know what? We're gonna go. I'm gonna skip over a question so we can get to this one. Okay. This is gonna be question number, at this point,
Okay, iPad to everyone. Colin, you may need to break this into two parts.
yeah.
New unread messages.
All right,
You have
so
a new message from
so
KFI.
Kiana is
Colin, you may need to
suggesting
break
that
this
we
into two
have a
parts.
second discussion, whereas this matter is concerned, and I will definitely take that into consideration. All right, let's all right, we're just gonna have to run over. You guys just gonna have to keep your answers short. All right.
Moderate us and shut us down when
New
need to
unread
be.
All right.
messages.
All right. So if you go too long, I'm gonna have to cut you off. All right. So question number 6. Does the preconceived notion of misappropriated funds, does the okay. Y'all give me a second. All right, there we go. Does the preconceived notions of misappropriated funds stifle both the tithing and offerings of dutiful donors? And subsequently, does this lead to their departure? So, simply put, is there something that is stifling the offering and tithing of the dutiful donors? And is this leading to their departure? Sean, you want to take that first?
All right, if I understand what it is that you're asking, um, you're saying, is the lack of people giving in church the cause
Yeah,
of the church
go ahead, Sean.
collapsing and people leaving?
Um, the preconceived notion that the misappropriating of funds. So the fact that people think that the funds are being used wrongly, meaning the
Wrongly.
tithes,
Okay.
is it causing a lack of tithing and offering?
I believe some people, I do believe that there has been organizations that have done that, so it has been proven. But for the most part, I believe that a lot of people uh, try to lump all churches and preachers and leaders all in the same category. So they put that in their mindset.
Okay.
And it also take place if you're a part of an organization that you're given to what you're given, but if the church doesn't give you any accountants of where your money is going, then you're left to believe what you want to believe.
Okay. Well said. Everybody else follow suit, 60 seconds or less. Robin, what do you say? Is the preconceived notion of misappropriated funds bringing about a lack of tithing and offering, subsequently leading to the departure of those dutiful donors?
Is that for me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I agree with Sean.
That was easy. Duchess, what do you say?
I think it can for some people, but if you're an obedient tither, you're going to tithe. And and if you also are in tune with God, not just in the house of a church, you'll know when to move on to a better church home.
Love it. Love it. G Money, what you say?
I say, yeah, with the influx of the televised mega churches, and you see it all the time. You see these people talking about, we got some big ballers in the house tonight. I think you could make a nice donation of $1,000. It'd be crazy prices that these people are throwing out to these people talking about, and you don't have to pay your mortgage this week. Just give that money to the church. What is going on here?
You got to be absolutely foolish to listen to that. Patsy, same question.
I'm gonna go between agreeing with Sean and Kiana. Um, just simple as that.
Okay. Tim, it's on you.
Well, I kind of agree with both Sean and Gregory. Gregory was right on point with that one. Yeah.
Okay. It's on you, Elijah. Same question.
Brother Elijah, we need you to sow a seed of 1,000.
Ain't that some shit? Um, Number one, tithing is not no money. It was made for the temple. It was made for people who was poor, who didn't have, basically the single mothers who didn't have their husbands because they got killed or they got kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? And for the orphans. What you was supposed to do, you was supposed to bring a piece of jewelry or you bring some type of food. If you have seeds, you have in the storehouse. So if it's ever a famine, you can help contribute, you know what I mean, taking care of the land. That's Israel. That's the real meaning. The metaphor of seed is money today's time, which is play. And if you wanted to C13, which is taxes, they're going to ask you for money, which basically is tax deductible. When you do give money to the church, it's tax deductible. So that's supposed to be counted for. So at the end of the year, you can ask the church for a ledger so you can get your money for what you have donated. Or if you pay taxes, 1099, the whole nine. Today's time is not so much of the offerings, which people don't have no problem giving to organizations. I won't even call it church. I just call it organizations. But when it comes to not giving, is you're constantly asking. You're constantly asking 3 times. And the sermon is probably no more than 20 minutes, but 3 times you're constantly asking for a metaphorically word, which is called a seed, which is really means money, which is not in the Bible. It's not biblical.
Okay.
I land my plane.
Nope, stay right there because I'm going to hit you with question number 7. Question number 7. According to religious scholars, the pursuit of a perfect church is pointless because both the people in the pews and in the pulpit remain imperfect. Do you agree or disagree with that?
110% agree. 110%. It's fake. It's that this. I don't. If you read your Bible, kid, this was for the children of Israel. Moses, the prophet, Jesus said, I'm only sent for the lost sheep. I don't know where we get caught up at. Well, I'm getting New England because a lot of white people love to go to church. I don't know where we get caught up on in this play stuff. If we read the Bible or listen to the Bible ourselves, nobody. If you know how to read a freaking book, nobody should have to tell you about Harry Potter if you read the book. So when you read this stuff right here, you can decode or you can cipher or what you can decipher what is fake and what is real. But usually because of habits, usually because a creature of habits, we love traditions. Forget what the word said. No, we ain't doing that. We're doing what we're doing nowadays. It's today's time. It ain't back then. No. Jesus didn't know what he was talking about then. Paul knows what he's talking about today's time. And it's like, yo, kid, that's play. But that's individual person. That's their own walk and belief. Yeah, if you read the Bible for yourself, especially those Old Testaments into the New Testament, you will see what Jesus came here for. You will see why a woman ain't supposed to preach. You will see why tithing was really a welfare system for the poor. You will see why the pastors feel like that is a mediator between God and man. Yeah, and most of all, you will see why they always why they always using the women for their manipulative agenda. You ain't supposed to have no C13 for a church building. Are you serious right now? When Jesus was and God and it was against the taxes. That's why Israel didn't have taxes on one another. I land my plane.
Say less. Greg, we went to Gregory. Did everybody get a chance to answer that question?
You asked
No, I just started that question. Yeah. I'm sorry. Sean, same question. Sean?
Let us get the question again.
Sean, you still with us?
Yes, I was trying to get the phone off mute. Yep, give me the question one more time because I thought I answered it.
Question number 7. According to religious scholars, the pursuit of a perfect church is pointless because both the people in the pews and pulpit remain imperfect.
I mean, I believe that's what they believe, but my belief is I'm striving every day to be like Jesus. And so because he was perfect, now I know that I'll never be perfect because as long as I'm here on earth and I have this fleshly vessel, that'll never happen. But my pursuit of it should never change or stop.
Okay. Like that answer. G Money?
And they said a perfect church?
Yep. The pursuit of a perfect choice, excuse me, that is a perfect choice. The pursuit of a perfect church is pointless because both the people in the pulpit and the pews remain imperfect.
And the people that came up with this theory, I just would like to know how perfect they are, knowing that everybody has some type of imperfections to themselves. And what would be the definition of a perfect church? And when have we ever seen that? You get what I'm saying? So, what perfect people do you know in the word?
Exactly.
I think that's what they're saying, that the pursuit of a perfect church is
But
pointless.
what do they mean by that? You could feel like my church is perfect for me with all my imperfections. You get what I'm saying? And the church
Ooh,
might be perfect with all its
that's a
imperfections.
that's a good one.
Hey,
That's
hey, Gregory, in the Bible, it teach you how to build a church. In the
mm-hmm.
Bible, it teach you how a church is supposed to run. All you got to do is stick to the letters where Paul's telling you how a church is supposed to run. If you're going to do the
The original
underground, hold on.
Listen,
original
If you go,
church should be your body.
gentlemen,
Church should be in your house.
we done already went over
Christ
this.
state of consciousness.
We're gonna have an in-depth discussion after we leave this platform. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next person. Patsy, what do you say?
I agree with Gregory. Yes, there are certain ways to run a church by the Bible, but even with those, when the biblical ways of building a church, and as being a human being, we still fall short of those regulations. So in actuality, although we are striving to make those regulations according to God in the Bible, we still fall short. But at least if we're striving for those perfections by God's standards, then God knows where your intentions are with building that church. Although it's always going to fall short.
Robert Brewington has joined the
Well
meeting.
said, well said. Timmy, same question. According to Bible scholars or religious scholars, the pursuit of a perfect church is pointless because both the people in the pews and pulpit remain imperfect. Do you agree or disagree?
Now,
60 seconds.
I would say this: a perfect church is a church that is about the community, their surrounding community. That's a perfect church. Never mind about the pastor or the deacon and all them getting rich off the people, the community. That's what I call. Because if you really, they call it the Church of Christ or the House of God, right? Now, if now Jesus gave, he took whatever richest people gave to him and gave to someone else in need.
All right.
That's not the majority of these churches out here. A lot of these churches out here are out to gain for self. And that's what I believe a perfect church is: giving and helping and not enriching your damn self.
Okay.
That's what a perfect church is.
Robert, what do you say? According to Bible scholars, the pursuit of a perfect church is pointless because both the people in the pulpit and the pews remain imperfect. Do you agree or disagree? You got to turn your mic on.
That's for me.
Yes, it is.
Um, when has the church or the people in the pulpit ever been perfect? You go to church because I thought it was underneath the belief that you was trying to be righteous, live underneath, I guess, God's law, the way He see things fit in His vision, righteous, pure. But you're not never gonna be perfect because if we was perfect, then we wouldn't need church, we wouldn't need schools, We wouldn't need bosses and all of that because we got it all figured out.
Mhm. All right, Duchess, what do you say?
Well, as long as man, meaning woman and man, is in the equation, there's never going to be perfection. Only God can provide that. And we're all supposed to strive for as close to perfection as we can. But again, perfection, there is no man in the pulpit or in the pews perfect.
Love it. All right, guys. You you got this last question. I'm telling you, 60 seconds, or you're gonna get cut off because this is the last question, and we are dangerously close to our shut off time. So everyone be mindful of that. All right, let's go. Timmy, I'm gonna come to you first. What has separated the shepherd from the flock, and what shall ensure the safe return of those that are lost? So, simply put, what has separated people from the church, and what is going to help bring the lost back into the fold?
I'll tell you what separated greed. Greed. And that's that is the problem, greed. What would bring people back would be uh get rid of the greediness, and get back to the basic what it's been all along, to help and provide assistance.
Okay. Thank you for your participation and your insight. Patsy, same question.
I agree with Timmy, but I'm gonna add showing love and compassion um towards others and those that have um left the church, and just to figure out like what's, besides people being greedy, what has turned them off from going to church.
Gregory, what do you say?
I know Jesus is looked at as the lamb, but I do not like that term with the shepherd and the flock, because I always feel like it's a group of sheep and its handler or something like that. So I mean, like, I like the fact of getting back on track spiritually, getting back right with the gods and stuff like that. But I feel like that'll come with seeing and believing, because I believe that a lesson is always the best way to learn for people, because some people do not know how to believe something until they experience it themselves. So somehow they have to get into that field where they can actually feel some type of spiritual blessing and pull themselves to religion. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. All right. Robert, what do you say?
Sorry, could you
Bridge,
hit me with the question?
question number 8. What has separated the shepherd from the flock, and what shall ensure the safe return of the lost?
Well, I can't explain what they need to do for themselves, but I do know this. If you ever was close with Jesus Christ, you never was lost. You always have him with you. No matter if you didn't go to the building no more to sit with the people and praise and dance, he still is always with you if you believe in Jesus. If you don't, I said it before, the time is now. Don't stop begging on your knees, telling the reasons why and how you couldn't, shouldn't, and wouldn't when he comes. Because you have a choice in life to get right or stay wrong.
Thank you for your participation and your insight. I appreciate you. And same to all those that spoke before you. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which of these individuals are going to end the show? Duchess,
Yes.
you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Same question. What has separated the shepherd from the flock? And what shall ensure the safe return of all of those that are lost?
I agree with what somebody said. Greed, man's ego, um, ego, wanting to be like God or think people with a God complex has separated people, but also there's a lot of people who haven't been shown the way, and I believe with what we're going through in the world, I believe that more people will come together and turn from their wicked ways and turn back to Jesus, or even turn to him when they never have.
Okay. Like it. Elijah, what do you say? What has separated the shepherd from the flock, and what shall ensure the safe return of all of those that are lost?
I gotta go with the Bible says. First of all, Jesus is my rabbi. He's my preacher. He's my teacher. The Holy Spirit, the one who guides me in everything that he says in the prophets. I don't believe in shepherds, but Jesus. I don't believe in sheep, but myself. Um, I know for a fact the church get destroyed is if they're written in Revelation, besides the Church of Philadelphia. So to me, to me, it is what it is. Before Jesus come back, there's not a church going to be standing. Not a one church is going to be standing. So for the flock and the shepherd and for them to return and stuff, I mean, you can still wish, for that style and that traditions to come back, but it's not. It's going to get even more restrained. A lot of people is not going to go to church no more. A lot of people is not. Right now, the ones really holding on to church is really majority white people. But a lot of black people is not going to go to church. A lot of black people is waking up to their true identity. A lot of black people is researching who they are. They understand what was BS. They understand when they was being manipulated. They understand that Jesus is the guide and the Holy Spirit is the teacher. No one and nobody and no institution else. I land my plane.
Thank you for your participation and your insight. Sean, what do you say? Turn your mic on,
Sorry.
big
Yep.
brother.
Yep. Give me that question one more time, please. Sorry.
Okay. What has separated the shepherd from the flock, and what shall ensure the safe return of all of those that are lost?
What has separated the shepherd from the flock is, I kind of like what Kiana said, and I'm gonna leave it just like that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be the last voice you hear tonight. Well, what has separated the shepherd from the flock, and what shall ensure the safe return of all of those that have gone astray? I'm going to simplify this for y'all. The enemy is the very thing that has separated the shepherd from the flock. And who shall restore order and shall ensure the safe return of all of those that have gone astray? God. This has been the Still a Man podcast. See you guys next week. Everyone, arm yourself with prayer. God bless you.